should go without saying that this isn't the ideal place to be doing the denibbing, but it's kind of the only place I've got right now. Got other stuff drying in there. This is all the space I have, so yeah, it's all a bit tight, very tight. I've got to say, considering this has just had a single coat of primer, the finish on this is amazing. It felt a bit spitty when I was first applying it, but it's dried really well. Amazing. So all the shells have had a good coat of primer. That's come out really nicely actually. It's all been denibbed, got a really lovely smooth base to work on. And for the top coat I'm using Tikkurila's Helmi 30. That's a 30% sheen. It's like a satin finish. It's just in plain white, and I've got a couple of litres of that, and I'll need to thin it down a little bit, probably about 10%. I've used this straight out of the can with an airless, but it'll almost certainly be too thick for an HVLP, so it'll need thinning down 10 to 15% maybe. And as usual, I'll strain it as I pour it out, and we'll do a single mix in this, so then we've got all the paint done. So we don't need to try and remix any halfway through. We've got one batch that's good for everything. So let's get that sorted. Oops, now, lens cap. I'm thinning the paint down with water by approximately 15 to 20% to get a kind of single cream consistency. Then doing a test spray onto cardboard to make sure it sprays nicely. And once happy with the test, I can start the first of 2 top coats on all the primed components. So I know it's only the first coat directly onto a coat of primer, but that finish is absolutely incredible. I do really like the Tikkurila Helmi paints. I've never used the Helmi 30 before. Got to say, it's got a nicer sheen to it, I think, than the Helmi 10. I wonder if you could mix a 10 and a 30 to get 20. Probably not. It's the short answer. Worth an ask though. But absolutely fantastic. What a finish. Even on the edges, cut edges, looks pretty spesh. So we'll get a second coat onto that. Let's see how we go from there. Ooh. So in conclusion, with this little Teratech TTPS 100 HVLP sprayer, where do we start? Let's start with the negatives, the downsides. It's a cheap tool, and I'll use that as a negative for now, because I mean it's cheap in terms of very clearly and very obviously made to a price. It's got the cheap tool issues that I mentioned at the introduction. I think I said, you know, short mains cable, short hose. It's relatively noisy at 72 dB, and it sounds like a sack of spanners when it's running. The actual sprayer itself is obviously a low-end model. It's not a metal needle, it's all plastic or nylon. On the other hand, you know, when it comes to what counts, the actual quality of the sprayed finish that you get from it, well, I've used it for 2 jobs in the last few days. One using Leyland's water-based primer undercoat, that's my standard one, and Leyland's water-based eggshell, and that was perfectly decent finish. And in the second job I used the same primer undercoat but a Tikkurila Helmi 30 top coat, and that has come out absolutely beautifully. You know, I haven't used Helmi 30 With my Graco I used Helmi 10, but from what I can remember of a Helmi 10 finish, I certainly wouldn't want to live by the difference between this and my Graco Airless. I probably do need to do a side-by-side comparison between those two, but that's not for this video, that's perhaps for a video in the future. So if it's producing the quality of finish, provided you can live with the relatively minor shortcomings of this little unit, it is absolutely fantastic value for money. Now, if you depend on your tools to make a living, then fairly obviously this probably isn't for you. I'm not about to chop in my Graco Airless for this little thing, simply because, well, I gave my reasons for choosing the Airless way back earlier in the year. I think it was in part 2 of the 8-part My 5 Months with the Graco Ultramax series. Again, HVLP, the paint needs thinning, it comes with viscosity cups and all that sort of stuff. I didn't use any of that, I just sort of did it by eye to get that sort of single cream consistency, and certainly the Tikkurila Helmi paint needed thinning by about 15, maybe 20% to get that spraying nicely. But once you'd done that, the actual finish achieved was very, very good. So probably not for somebody in the trade. Certainly if you're interested in dipping a toe in the spraying arena, this little unit at £30 should be absolutely on your list of things to try. Got to give a shout out as well to Thomas over at Casual DIY. Without his review of the 40-ish quid HVLP, it wouldn't have occurred to me to have looked at these low-end units. So thanks to Thomas for that. And if you haven't checked out Thomas's channel, you really should. Again, there's a link in the video description below. But really, for basic spraying needs, as I say, I'm not going to be getting rid of my Graco and using this, but I'm not going to be getting rid of this either. I'm going to be keeping this for those little spray jobs where I don't want to get the Graco out, or I don't want to get it too mucky or oily or messy. Things like fencing and decking and those sort of little spray jobs are the things that spring to mind. So I'll be keeping this and using it in future, and we'll see how it fares with longer term use. But that's it for this week. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, give the video a thumbs up, share it freely amongst all the social things, and don't forget, the best way not to miss one of my videos is to subscribe to the channel. And if you do subscribe, don't forget to hit that bell, then you'll be notified whenever I put up something new. But that's it for this week. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.